It's very easy to just like...
And to maintain the laser focus you need in such a fast-paced game like this for a half hour is just wild. And then to do it 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I cannot... after 80% attempts, I'm like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
So to do it the 3rd time, it's just like, whew, so much mental fatigue. And what we usually do see in the league is by the time we get to game 3, things start getting a little sloppy. Things start getting a little relaxed and loose. So it's like, you have to keep that fortitude. And Sushi's definitely going to have to do that as we run into this 3rd game, which is already underway. We already are through prologue right now.
Yep. Not a whole lot noteworthy to talk about in prologue.
I mean, you've seen a prologue once. You've seen it every time unless someone dies.
It's kind of like if you watch OOT. You've seen the intro a few times.
You can go run and grab popcorn. You got time. Don't worry.
Ooh, and both of them with that death in the same room. Just
Holy
trading
moly.
those blows. Not even really blows. It's like Sushi punched himself in the face, and then Tej just did the same.
Yeah, or like he punched himself in the face and fell onto Tej, and it's just like, hey.
Yep. Could be.
But the difference there, too, is that Sushi died a little earlier than Tej, so he was able to get back into the game a little quicker, so...
Yeah, and that's really what's responsible for this small lead that he's still maintaining at the moment.
Tej taking another death.
Yeah, lots of unfortunate deaths on Tej's side at the moment.
I mean, if you were to take any deaths, I would take them in City over any other stages.
That's really true. Because especially you have the rest of the race to like try to deal with whatever loss that you took.
Mm-hmm. And then also like all the screens are very short, so it's just really easy to get right back in, and then you can use that opportunity to save time in a different place. Sushi looking out into the crowd as he gets ready for Old Sight here, cracking the knuckles.
They're getting ready to roll here. And I mean, how does Madeline not realize that she's dreaming with that green neon fire?
You know, I'm going to go on a very far out limb here. And she doesn't realize that she's dreaming because of what the old lady said to her leading into the mountain. Because she's like, the mountain changes people and it makes things not appear as what they are normally. So I think that is a part to play on it.
Ooh, and Sushi taking the first Dream Block death. You can see just having to laugh about it ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's actually died there before, to be real honest.
There's a first time for everything. That is, I think that's the first. This has never happened before in the marathon. So here we go. We have established the curse.
So that is going to put Tej out in front just a little bit as he heads into this room here. Now in the final battle in the room. Woo! Msushi cutting it a little close there.
Really, really nice.
Oh, nice movement on Sushi's end there to close out this room. So now Tej getting ready to go into Awake. Sushi not too far behind.
Yeah, only about a screen or so.
All right, and again, this is where, like, you know, a spring will change this lead. Oh, actually, Tej not getting the right movement there. Allowing Sushi to get a little bit caught up. And then a corner bop on Tej's screen, too. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty well going to reduce the lead that Tej had to just about nil. As we're moving into Resort for the 3rd time.
The 3rd time. 3rd time's a charm, unless your Resort is in shambles.
Yep. Be proud of your death count. No thanks.
No, I actually disagree for this game. I think you should be proud of it.
Casually you should be proud of it, but in a speedrun,
no. Unless you like, I got a PB and I died 5,000 times. Like, okay.
Or imagine if somehow there was like a 100 death category.
Oh, God. That would be great. Just try to find like the fastest deaths you can.
Yeah, find the fastest unique deaths. That'd probably be how you'd have to establish the rule set.
Oh man, we should make.
Otherwise, you would just jump off of like the very beginning of prologue over and over.
Kind of like all unique moons, but instead it's all unique deaths.
Yeah. There's this really fascinating game that I played when I was a teenager called Karoshi, which is a reference to the Japanese word for death by overwork. And in the game, you play as like a little like businessman, and the goal in every level is to somehow die.
Oh wow!
So like at first, it's like there's a spike pit right next to you that you just jump into, and then later on there will be like safes that you have to drop on your head and stuff like that. But it gets really creative later on. It's a really neat little puzzle game. I think it was originally a like desktop downloaded game, but then they also made a Flash game out of it. So
oh, cool.
Definitely recommend, especially if you want something to put a lot of difference in after watching a really intense platformer like this.
Actually, another game that can like pull away from intense platforming is Grease, which is another game that I actually run myself. It's also a platformer too, but man, if you want to have like the chillest speedrun, give that one a shot.
I'll have to look at that one at some point. I hadn't heard of it.
It's really good. I've definitely tooted my horn about it, about how amazing the game is. It's definitely it's like an experience like this game, like from a casual standpoint.
Oh, okay.
And then like, from a speedrun part, it's just I guess it's just because the way the game is, it's just very relaxing. Okay.
Ooh, Sushi just waiting a little bit too long for that.
I don't know what that was all about. And Teach dying in the room right here too.
Now look at how close these two are now with those two deaths.
Yeah, it's still about like a half second. But we're seeing, like I'm noticing that Sushi's going for a lot more ultra strats. Oh, very nice corner boost off of that.
Okay, good movement still.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, oof. This is very close as we get into the elevator shaft portion. Oh, Sushi having a little bit of hang up there. All right. Now, Teach has a hang up in this room last game. Not an issue this time. Like, he didn't get the wall bounce off of there for some reason. But we are into demo. Teach first up to bat. He's going to get it. Sushi now on deck. He's going to get it too. But
nice
again,
lineup.
Teach dying in the next room. And hello. We're just like, it's like an echo. No.
Yep. Sushi, meanwhile, is able to get through on that first try and hitting him going to the options menu instead. Options.
Too many taps.
Too many taps. Now, there's a video I haven't seen in a long time.
All right. Now, we've seen on this screen that's coming up too. Teach actually took a death in this room as well. And towards the end, so we'll see. All right, so far so good. But now we have the final Ashira room too.
All right. Getting right to the end of resort here.
Sushi.
Ooh, Sushi with the corner, unfortunately.
A different strat there, but that's okay. Teach with a 752 and Sushi with a 756. Those are still really, really good, strong times.
Oh, yeah.
In just a 4-second difference. As we head into the infamous Golden Ridge, folks.
Yeah, not at all golden aside from in color. It's really the wind that just makes this such a just janky level, ultimately.
Maybe they could have called it Windy Ridge, but I feel like Golden gives it a little more characteristic to it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Especially like with how everything in the game has a pretty distinct name, like Celestial Resort and such. At least all the like major landmarks.
Yeah. Also,
RG.
Yep. I was
Very
gonna
nice.
also point out too, and I just realized this, that like I feel like Golden Ridge actually introduces the most new mechanics.
Yeah, because it
Of all-
introduces both the short bubbles and the wind.
and the clouds
Oh, right. And
and the autoscroller blocks.
Yeah.
So wait a minute.
That's 4
Yeah,
things.
there's 4 things. So maybe this is the one. Also, if you want to go for more fun trivia, Chapter 2 is the only chapter in the game that has, well, besides Core, that has, and I guess Summit, that has mechanics from another chapter.
Really?
There's a room that has a zipper from the city. Yeah, you run into it on A or B, and I think that's the only room in the first 6 chapters, or that actually like mixes gimmicks together like that.
That's really fascinating because I'd always thought that it was just every level focused on one specific gimmick. And that's one thing that I really, really like about this game is how it takes that approach of like, here's this really cool thing, here's a few different ways that we can use it, and then we're just going to put it off to the side for a while instead of trying to like stack it with everything else.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it from like a design level too, there's just so many things that they add, but like it all revolves around Madeline's dash ability.
Oh yeah, true.
It's like
true.
that's the main star, and I like that they don't ever like pull away from that. I mean, like case in point, in this section, you have to rely on the dash. You can't just like
both
casually
to
walk
dash to
through.
get through the wind, to dash to like change the direction of the movement blocks. Like the dashing mechanic is really, really put in the forefront throughout this game.
Sushi going for that nice ultra setup there, and actually Sushi with the slight lead as well.
Looks like. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I got the room slightly confused for a moment, but
Yeah, no, I had a mix up too. I was like, wait a minute. And our IGT timer is looking very on point from both runners here. These two are really going back and forth. This is amazing. Look at that. 2041 versus a 2046? Okay.
so a 1039 versus a 1041. So Tej with a 2-second deficit at the moment.
As we move into 5A and 5B. Now, 5A, we've seen that Sushi missed the yeets, but in 5B, we had TGH missing the bubs drop.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they go here. I want to see a yeet from Sushi on this run. I want to see it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get just one. Just one. Needs to be able to walk home with at least one yeet.
All right, so far so good. Sushi getting ready to get in here for the keys and getting set up for it. A nice movement there. Getting that wall bounce and getting set up here for the yeet. Let's go.
Nice. And T's
And
going to be
T's with
matching
the-
with a
Almost,
unfortunate yeet.
yeah.
Was trying to save it, but just could not at the
Just
end of
went
the day.
too far and clip that wall there.
That's really unfortunate how you can end up having just too much speed for it to actually work like it should.
Too much yeet.
Too much yeet. Dun, 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 dun.
Nice. Oh, are we gonna see 110?
Is this?
What do we got?
Yup, 110.
I think he could have got sub 110. He kind of lingered a little bit on that tape screen.
Yeah. And Tej, meanwhile, having to deal yet again with just weird tape block movement. Going to be losing probably about 10 seconds to Sushi in this
is a
one
10-second
area.
difference right there. Wow.
10 seconds over a minute or so section is not what you want to see at all.
Do, 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 do. Oh man, I'm just getting caught. What was
Dashing right into the block instead of getting over it for the bubs drop attempt. Yeah, you could see it on his face, just the what?
Oh,
and going
no!
right up.
With the bump drop failed too. Wow. So that's everybody.
Yup, that's the lead right there. Tej now has the lead just from that one bubs drop fail.
There we go. Yeah, I think everybody now has a fail on the board
Yup.
for the top 4. So now that that's out of the way, we can just have clean Bubs drops for the rest of the game.
Yep.
The rest of the series.
Here's hoping. Fingers very much crossed. I've always wondered, this is very off topic, but does the level that you're able to cross your fingers impact the amount of luck that you get from it? So, like, if you could somehow do 2 full twists, like, would you just instantly get whatever you wish for and then more?
I don't know. I feel like if you can do 2 full twists, you could, like, probably make cool YouTube videos or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. That's probably where the luck would come from, is you just being able to do whatever you wanted with that money from YouTube.
Yep.
And nice little time save on the Seeker in that room from Sushi, not having to wait for the Seeker to reactivate. And Tej, it looked like just either went for or just missed the 2 cycle or the 1.5 and had to go for the 2.
I really like that Sushi does the Ultra into this room. Because a lot of other runners just kind of use the momentum from the previous room to make that work.
Yeah, but using the Ultra to build up even more is just that little extra bit of time save. Oh yeah,
Theo
very narrowly not able to get that.
Theo tried to play with the emotions here, like, yeah, I think I'll go down there.
Do I really want to help you? I guess.
And Tej clocking in at 2:20, and very nice 5B time. And now we can't use the chapter time because we did have to restart, but still a very good time from Sushi as well. Minus that Bubs drop mishap. As we head into Reflection, we got Tej looking at, what, 1432-ish? Jumping into Reflection, while Sushi now at a 1437. So a couple seconds again, like as we head into one of the more difficult chapters in the game.
Oh, yeah. But first, Aurora Borealis.
Yep.
I just can't help myself. I'm sorry.
Oh! Failed lake skip from Sushi. Again, try this one again.
Yeah, and that pretty much eats all the time save that you would have gained.
Yeah, I think you save time on the first attempt and you break even on the second.
That sounds right, yeah. Which have we discussed? I think we have discussed, like in this set, the concept of spike jumps, but just to reiterate, if you don't move into spikes, so like if the spikes are on the left wall, as long as you're not moving to the left, they won't kill Madeline.
Sushi taking a little break there to give his hands a nice little shake during that Kevin block.
Yeah, that shakeout is actually a really, really effective stretch. Huge shout outs to, I forget what the user name was, but there's someone on the Smashboards forum that made a very well-written, elaborate post on proper stretching technique to save your hands, and it helps so much. Oh, yeah. Man. And that shakeout is one of the big ones that you can do that will really help.
Oh, no, not getting enough lift there. He's got to try this again. Not enough. Oh, now he did too much.
And not able to actually make his way through. Is able to pull it off this time around, though. What an unfortunate set of mistakes from Sushi, though.
All right, meanwhile, Tej getting ready to go to the top room here in just 1 second. All right, he's going to go for it here. Nice. And the corner boost at the end, too. Just getting that little extra oomph. All right. So Tej is getting just pulling ever so slightly out in front, if more and more as we progress through Reflection here. There's still a lot. We could have the unfortunate mishap of the ravine, like the last section. Because again with the ravine, what we have those developer intended shortcuts, and the first two are easy to line up, but the last one is a little harder. But the worst thing about this is that if you die, the checkpoint is all the way back at the top of the screen.
Yep.
So you do run the risk of losing a lot of time if you mess that up.
Oh, yeah. And that's something we've seen a few runners have to deal with before, and that's just always rough to see.
Yep. That's Tej getting ready for battle and boost. And Sushi getting through that ravine portion there.
Very nice boost there. Gonna run right into Battling for the first time. Of course, we got that beautiful Kevin block sound from Sushi's screen.
Oh yeah.
As he is now moving into the battle and fight himself. A little bit of a deficit at the moment, but could still make up some pretty considerable time, especially if Tej has some issues on the later battling screens.
Tej bailing through. Getting the GSA strat, as I like to call it. Call it that because when they announced the Celeste any percent tournament and the league, or more importantly, the any percent tournament, like that was the clip that they used.
Yep.
And it's just like, actually, they used that to mention TGH's name as well. So, but it's like one of my favorite strats because it's just so clean.
Yeah, there's so many strats in this game that even if they're not super hard to pull off, they just look so great.
T's getting ready for round 2 here. Sushi about 2 screens out from that part. Nice.
Yeah, and that's not the worst place to be at all.
Yeah, especially against TGH. Sushi getting caught up on that ledge there. Right now, TGH in that second to last screen here, getting that reverse hyper, saving 3 frames from that.
Very valuable time save, probably going to end up making the difference between winning or losing this race.
Definitely. Getting ready to finish up here. Now, all right, here we go. This is what I was talking about. Sushi in its last screen. There we go. All right, so T's wrapping up at a 20:08. That's a really, really solid time. That's actually anticipating if he gets his usual summit times. And I'm not even talking about the league. We're looking at a very low 28 if he can pull this one off.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty stellar time. Sushi having issues just dashing up to the very top here. And the look of resignation.
Just bowing his head like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
We've said it so many times, but the looks on this man's face really do say it all.
This is, the 2034. But T's already carving into Summit. I love the intro to this. What I actually really love about the intro to this song is that it's the exact same song that is played when you're running across the bridge.
Yep.
And I love that because, like, one, it makes the player remember the very beginning of the game. And then to me, it's like you get to think about everything that you've gone through leading up to this point.
Yeah.
And then like how every section has like its own like remnants of each previous soundtrack with like the different sounds and everything. This like Reach for the Summit is arguably like one of the best video game pieces ever made, in my opinion.
I could certainly agree with that.
And like especially when you tie it in with the level design and everything else about the game too. It's just like it's so great.
Because, I mean, thematically, you're exactly right. Like, when you are going over that bridge, it stops a little bit prematurely with, like, that, it just kind of, like, fades out, echoing almost. But, like, here, it doesn't have any of that. It's like you're hearing the full song finally. And it kind of invokes, like, if you think of, like, a orchestral piece, it's like, this is the leitmotif.
And also just that constant melody of Forsaken City.
Yep.
And it's just played through each level over and over again. There was somebody that actually took each of these pieces and put them together, like from 500, 1,000, etc., etc. Put them together as one piece, and it actually works.
Really?
Yeah, they had to do a little bit of finagling with the BPM on a couple of them, just to make sure they lined up correctly. But like, it sounds really good.
I'll have to look into that. That's awesome.
I will warn you though, because there is another one where they just took it without adjusting anything, and it's not. There's like a really good one, and then there's one like, this is a meme, right?
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like the videos that have popped up where it's like X song, but beats 2 and 4 are switched.
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
They're not that bad though. Like there's one that's Get Lucky by Daft Punk. That one's actually pretty good, I feel like.
I remember someone did one for the 1-1 theme of Super Mario Brothers.
Oh god.
I think they just like they took out every offbeat.
Oh, those are wild.
I was just like, oh boy.
The best one I've ever seen though is Smash Mouth's All Star, but all the instruments are out of sync.
Oh no.
Especially like since it's that like pseudo ska song, it's the guitar is just really really wild.
Right.
But enough of that, because
we got
now
Sushi Gunny.
Tej is entering into 2,000 meters.
Msushi getting the corner bop on the triple ultra room. Oh my!
That nice
gosh.
save though.
Yes. All right. I'm just getting caught up in this music.
Yeah, like I mean, there's not too much to say whenever everything is going right for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Tej with the nice movement throughout the auto scroller skip room.
We got Sushi in this long room with the snowballs. Last iteration of them. That one not being a factor either. That one, oh my gosh, that was so heartbreaking in that first race. The snowball was just like, nope.
Right. I still can't believe that.
Yeah, I couldn't even believe that. Just in disbelief.
Also, Sushi with the very nice bounding under the terrain. In case you're curious as to why that trick has 2 names, just look at the names really hard and you'll probably figure it out.
Actually, funny story. It was Flavor and I were talking about it, about the auto scroller skip, and then it dawned on to me, you know, like the acronym of that, and I mentioned it to him. I was like, yeah, we can't really give that a short name, and then hilarity ensued, and so I just kind of played off of that, and then now we have the other one, which is like the more friendly approach to the strat.
And I mean, it is a little bit more explanatory because
Yeah.
you are just literally going under the intended terrain, going down in that very, very small, actually unspiked section. Oh, Sushi, why does he keep missing that?
That
Really
yeah.
like to
So that's happened a lot with a lot of the runners today. You just miss that corner boost. Because I think ideally what it is, you corner boost in and it just saves a little bit of time. And I think Babai was the one that originally was doing that. So, but you know, you had the fail safe by dashing. But I almost feel like since you have to wait for the dash block anyway, would it just be faster for you to just restart and then just go about it normally?
You know, I feel like it probably would be.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that's the more optimal thing to do. All right, Tej taking a death on flag 24? Is that what I saw? What happened over there?
I'm not quite sure. That's really strange.
All right, now Sushi getting out of 2,500 as Tej is working on his downdraft portion here. All right. Tej getting into flag number 20. Taking a upstream and getting ready for this updraft portion. I do like the alley-oop kind of thing, especially with like the whole level up and like battle and boosting you to meet your goals. It's very symbolic,
Oh yeah, definitely.
especially like, you know, with them just kind of at each other and just having a lot of conflict between them, to see them to work together to make it work. I mean, man, Listen, just go buy the game.
Yeah, honestly. We could explain the entire story, spoil literally every element, and I'm sure that you would still find a bunch of value in playing through this game casually.
Absolutely.
It is just such a beautiful story, and especially if you've dealt with some of those mental health issues in the past, it's very endearing and very relatable, I feel like, too.
I mean, like, for myself, from a personal standpoint, this actually helped me kind of address and acknowledge my own, like, anxiety and depression and stuff like that.
And especially, like, with the self-doubt, like,
Yeah.
challenging yourself to do things is one thing, but, like, convincing yourself that you can't do them is a very unhealthy trait that a lot of people experience. And so just kind of directly addressing that and talking about, too, like, ignoring problems is not the way to solve them.
Yep.
Like, or just trying to, like, completely destroy the bad side of yourself. Rather, like, working with it is the way to really succeed.
Well, actually,
Because, I mean, ultimately, if you tried doing any of this without that second dash, you couldn't. It's not possible.
Yeah. And yeah, and it goes back to, you know, if you just try to get rid of the bad and negativity section of yourself, like, you can't. You have to basically just accept the fact that everybody has that, and you just embrace it and just keep moving forward.
Yep.
All right, well,
And speaking of moving forward, Tej moving right up forward onto the summit with an
28-25.
28-25.
18-25?
Yeah,
Like,
not sure how much
okay.
you just skipped. Jeez.
Oh no, Sushi with the death on flag number 3 here.
Getting nice and close to the end, though. Should be able to swing a low 29 with this run.
Yeah, yeah. I know a flag 1 is usually like 8 to 10 seconds depending on how fast you go. So actually, he might. Nope, it's a very low 29 though. Still very impressive here, clocking in at a 29.01 to give it up for Msushi.
Really stellar third race.
Tej is going to take this set.
Just great performance from both of our guys. Shout outs to Sushi, the most photogenic. And of course, Tej as well.
Throwing up the peace sign. All right. So with that, Tej is going to walk away with this with 4 points.
Yep, and so Tej will end up being in first place with the points rankings now, since he does have a full 4 points, followed directly by Flattery with that 3 point from the initial run that we just had. And then we got Chai Kitty with 1 point, and then finally Msushi with unfortunately 0 points.
Yep.
But I mean, let's talk a little bit about this race, because I'm expecting that to change, especially once Sushi starts actually facing the other competitors.
Yeah, I mean, just Msushi's playing out his gourd today. Like, just being on. Listen, if you can be on pace against the world record holder, that speaks volumes about your ability for this game, or for any game for that matter. So, like,
and not even just a world record holder, but someone as ridiculously consistent as Tej.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Like, you're just able to hold that whole time. Like, I'm expecting a little bit of ruffling in the leaderboards as we proceed. And I mean, like, especially what happened like in the first game too. Like with the mishaps that happened with like on foot or every side and losing the game there, or even like Chai Kitty as well, like with like the upper end 29. Like, it's really anybody's game, and Msushi definitely has shown up, and he is here to play.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, I know he was joking, like, I'm about to get swept across the board, but, like, you can't just joke about that and then pull a performance like that. Like, it doesn't work that way. I could say that and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to just lose everybody because, like, I have, like, a 6-minute difference between everybody.
Right.
But not that, no. So definitely looking forward to tomorrow and seeing how things are going. I'm hoping, actually, since that's another thing, too, that we should actually bring up, since this round robin for all the games is going to span across 3 days, getting enough sleep, getting enough rest, all that stuff, all those little things.
And
are
like
gonna
even
play.
just getting your practice in between and not over practicing. Because I'm sure some of these guys, especially the ones that are placing a little bit more towards the bottom in these first group stage matches, they're going to be really tempted to hit that grindstone super hard tonight. And over practicing is a very well known phenomenon. So that is something that could certainly shake up the performance tomorrow as well.
And especially with the keyboard players as well too. I mean, like, there has been a point in time where I played too much Celeste and I've had like discomfort in my hands. And like, I feel that playing on keyboard, like, I don't even think I could do 2 runs in a row. I
Yeah,
would
like-
just be like, ugh.
As long as you're like somewhat paying attention to ergonomics, everything is okay. But that's a thing you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, and if
in
you're
a
paying
speed run,
attention
you
to
don't
that,
have that.
yeah, exactly. So, they're going to want to keep their hands healthy as they move forward into the day number 2 here. All right, so we are going to go ahead and bounce out and get set up here for the next one.
Yep.
Super Mario Odyssey. So
it's looking like we are not going to be having an interview with Tej, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah, but that's fine.
But
you'll see him.
What we will have coming up is the one, the only Super Mario Odyssey.
And not only that, you're going to have D-Dangers and Limb Cube on the mic too.
Oh yeah, both of them just absolutely glorious, wonderful folk. I'm actually rooming with Dangers, and he's such a swell guy.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. So
Huge
we're going to go
positivity.
ahead.
And so that first round, I believe, is Chaos Pringle and Little Curbs, correct?
Yes.
Yep. And we just received word from the back that is correct. And so Chaos, the current world record holder with the biggest April Fool's joke of all time with a 59.58. I didn't believe it until I saw those splits. I did not believe it. And, of course, Little Curbs, the sub-hour in a GSA race.
Yes,
Titan.
that is correct.
Unfortunately, not getting the Nicro Bop or world record, but still able to pull an insane performance. So PBs of 1 second apart, that should be a pretty great race. So definitely stick around for that.
Actually, I think we actually are going to be getting an
Oh,
interview
we are
here.
getting an interview. Okay.
It's just a
little bit of a
surprise.
backroom confusion.
A wild TGH has appeared.
Yep. So hello.
How's it going?
How are you feeling after those races? Oh, we do have a
we
headset,
have a headset
for you. See, a little backroom confusion, but we've got it settled now.
Yeah, we got
so.
it set up here. How's it going?
All right, can you repeat the question?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Okay, mic should be on now.
We did it.
We
We
did
good?
it. Did we do it?
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Alright.
So how are you feeling after those races, especially like being so consistent, pulling off 2 of the identical time?
It was definitely, it's just hard to get used to being up there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, it's, at first it's nerve-wracking. Then, like, by the end of the 3rd race, it felt like I was actually, like, able to get acclimated and sort of, like, play my own game. And Summit and Reflection definitely felt good.
Oh, yeah. And
at
it
the
was
end of
definitely
the last
reflected
one.
in that huge improvement going down to 2820s. And so definitely that's a big question that we were wondering a lot before the event. You think that the stage presence was, like, certainly a big impact?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've never done anything like that in a competitive setting before. Like, I've done, like, runs for games on Quick, but, none of them are really, like, competitive, like, except for races, which, like, who really cares who wins that race?
Yeah,
You know what
I mean,
it's like, but
even
you
like
know,
the tournament races before, you're in that home environment at your own home desk. And
yeah,
so,
it's just hard sometimes to, I guess it's hard to go up there and give it your absolute all and not give it too much.
Right.
Or try to like, move too quickly or do something too fast or whatever. So the only thing I told myself when I went up there was just like slow it down, like just be mindful of your speed in the game itself, and somewhere down the line, like during that 3rd race, I felt like I could speed it up a little bit again. So
Yeah.
I started to feel better.
Okay.
And so with that early lead that Sushi ended up getting, especially like in that 2nd race, like what was going through your head? And like, what was your strategy for how you're going to reclaim that lead?
You know what? It really reminds me a lot of like, because I'm no stranger to like competitive scenes at all. Like I'm a former golfer actually. Former
really?
athlete. Yeah, former professional. I did it very briefly, but still, like I golfed a lot. And it's the same kind of thing. It's like an individual thing, but you're playing against somebody else, or you're playing against a whole bunch of other people. And basically, what it is you're just like trying not to get distracted.
Yeah.
By your opponent, by your, by like you're standing against the other player, and just like continuing to play your own game and not letting that get to you, So like that was definitely hard to do, but like I'd say I'd consider it one of my strengths for like competition. So.
Yeah, and you definitely. I don't think that you seemed really shaken at all, especially like in that 2nd race with how close it was coming, and so it definitely you really did handle it well. For sure.
Thanks. I tried, try not to tilt, try not to do anything outlandish while, you might be angry for a few seconds, but, just being mindful of it really helps.
Now, I know you were doing a bit of practice during the race, but I'm sure you were also watching at some point. Seeing Vlad and Chai Kitty play, what are you thinking going forward into your matches with both of them?
Just trying really not to think much of anything besides just like, like I mentioned earlier, like deciding what exactly I'm going to do for like my own, for lack of a better word here, pace. My own pace going forward and like going to that first run. But there's a lot of mental stuff that could be going on, but sometimes it's best to try to minimize that. And
Oh yeah,
simplify
of
it.
course.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you really, I'm sure you can attest that the laser focus is really essential to be able to perform at a high level in a game that goes this fast.
It's hard with like with the screens, like with the the stream going on like behind the screens. It's hard not to look up like while you're playing almost sometimes. And
Yeah, and we did notice between Chai and Vlad that like Chai Kitty would occasionally kind of look up to see where each person was at, and I feel that does. Do you feel that would bring like an extra amount of pressure? Like for example, when you and Sushi went into Summit, you guys are basically like tied in the first race, and if you would have seen that, like looking up at screen, like, oh, we're actually like dead even.
yeah.
You feel that it would bring more pressure upon yourself, or like a little more stress than normally?
I think like I'm curious. Like I knew what was going on in every race. Like I knew I knew where we stood pretty much the whole time, aside for a couple of like IGT discrepancies potentially. But real time, I knew where we were.
Yeah.
And I had an idea that like the two systems are very similar IGT. So, but yeah, it's like it's like I said it before. It's hard not to get distracted sometimes, but you can't you can know where you are, but just don't let it affect how you play, unless you have some sort of strategic like difference in your play, like that depends on that.
Yeah.
So
I guess like your next match is going against Chai Kitty. Now, how do you feel about that? Like after going through this first race, like you feel like that you're getting well adjusted to the setting and the environment and everything, so that like that you don't have that to worry about that as we move into day 2?
yeah, definitely. So I mean, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same thing. I'm playing my own way, my own game, and just trying not to get distracted. And I don't see a reason to do anything different against Vlad either when I play him. So it's just not getting distracted is the key.
For sure. Now, as far as you do have obviously some hours tonight before those races tomorrow, are you planning on doing any sort of practice, maybe a little bit of grinding, or just kind of leaving things as they are in your head?
Depends on whether or not I feel like playing, I guess.
Fair.
After that display, I'm not sure I want to play like for another couple hours or another day even. But yeah, so.
And I definitely wanted your insight. How do you feel that the 3-round system, especially like performing live, that I'm sure drains a little bit more energy from you? Do you feel like that third race ultimately you're in a pretty like vulnerable position energy wise?
I'm used to doing a lot of runs in a row, so
especially with the no resets.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I've kind of like worked on that as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't feel any different third race. I felt better third race versus the first race, most likely, just because of the nerves, the just getting accustomed to everything, and being comfortable is important. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Well, all right.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Did you have any other questions for Tej?
Nope, not this time. No 20 questions today.
Are you sure?
I have a couple in the notebook for tomorrow.
Okay.
I mean, I do have one question. Which do you think is more unlikely? Vlad missing 6 Bubs drops in a row or getting 11 Whimsins in a row?
Oh my God. I don't know. What's a Whimsin again? I'm just kidding. I mean, speaking of that, that's extremely uncharacteristic of Vlad, and I think that really goes to show, like just the smallest differences can make such a huge difference in the end. And if you're just a little bit uncomfortable with what you're doing, and something like that can happen. I missed Bubs drop, I think, in the first race.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I think every runner has missed it now. So,
So the seal has been
now
broken.
that that's out of the way, we can just move forward and focus on other stuff.
Now, we did see Sushi's That's Never Happened Before with that interesting death in Old Site. Did you have anything that you'd kind of identify like that in your runs?
I didn't see his death, but there were a lot of those today.
You had a death in towels. The second to last screen in towels where like it looked like you cleared everything and it was like the vertical.
Oh,
and then all of
yeah,
a
I
sudden
did
you
clear
start-
everything.
Yeah,
I
was
did.
like, what happened? We were just like,
I think we literally-
I fast fell down to the left and
just flipped. Oh my
did it
gosh,
too
yeah,
far.
because we were
Like because I'm trying to like get as far to the left there as I
Yeah.
can because I guess it saves a few frames to get down there sooner. Like because you're dashing down left on the
Yeah.
next screen. But
because we saw it and then all of a sudden it was just like, what just happened?
like oh he died. What?
yeah, like you died there? Like what?
Right.
Yeah, that was a weird one. There were a lot of weird ones. 5A tape in the second race, I think.
Yes, I do remember that one
Oh
too.
yeah, that was.
And then like Sushi had the one where he in the battling fight in Reflection just misinput, diagonal dash straight into the spikes in both games.
Happens.
I take blame for the second one.
Happens. It's marathon luck, except it's not quite a marathon in this
Yeah.
case, but it's
Yeah.
competition luck. You know, stage luck. I
Pace
guess.
luck.
Yeah, pace luck.
There
Yep.
we go. Hashtag pace luck.
Well, all right, folks. I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this interview. Thanks so much for coming through. And GG's. Also, congrats on that win.
Thank you.
And securing first place with those 4 points for now.
Thanks. Feels good.
And we're looking forward to your races tomorrow.
Yep.
And GG's to Sushi as well.
Yep.
I told him that already, but yeah. Like,
Yeah. And
those are some really good races.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
definitely.
he was just playing out of his head for sure. Like I said before we got into the interview, don't go anywhere. We've got SMO races in just a bit. Chaos Pringle versus Low Curbs, only 1 second apart in their PBs. That's going to be a race,
Yeah,
folks.
it's going to be a pretty one. And then, of course, on the mic is going to be Dangers and Limb Cube. So you guys will be in great hands
Yep.
as we move forward. So be sure to stick around. And, yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yep. See y'all soon.